Raider Nation, I wanted to say thanks, man. I had a hell of a time yesterday on my live birthday show, at least from what I remember I did. If you guys are looking for more news, more rumors around the silver and black, and if you want live shows, I promise you, you're not going to find another YouTube channel out there like the Raiders Report. So click that sub button, turn on those notifications. I'm going to be going live on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, like I always do. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. And coming up here, we got some news. Is Malcolm Butler going to be coming to Vegas? And then more Derek Carr rumors thanks to PFF. Now, today's show is presented by our awesome sponsor, Panda Sups, and they're hooking us up with 35% off at pandasups.com. Just make sure you guys use code Raiders. Hopefully, that's a little bit easier to remember. Easier than me wearing my Raider stuff because it was in the wash, so now I got to wear this today. Oh, well, it's all good. So what we're going to be talking about is the news that happened today around the silver and black. Ian Rapoport had this to say on Twitter. The Raiders are adding a familiar and respected voice to their scouting department. Shaun Herock is joining the Las Vegas as a personal advisor, source said. A former Raiders executive, he's back to pro and college scouting under general manager Dave Ziegler. Now, the reason why I wanted to go ahead and bring this up is because some people have told me that he rocks, but no, I actually wanted to bring it up because his dad, Ken, was one of the biggest reasons why Josh McDaniels and Ziegler decided to come to Vegas. You remember during the press conference, the name that Davis dropped was Ken Herock. So again, you're seeing this is probably one of those reasons why the Raiders decided to bring in Shaun. And Shaun, he was actually already with the Raiders for a short amount of time. Back in 2012 to 2018, he was the Raiders' director of college football scouting. The reason why he's respected is because he's had some success in the past, and I'm really hoping that he can jumpstart this Raiders scouting department because they have been about as bad as you could possibly ask for, especially when you look at those first-round picks. Now, here are the first-round picks that Shaun had when he was with the Raiders. They didn't have a first-round pick in 2012. You took DJ Hayden at number 12 overall. Khalil Mack, number 5. I mean, by far, probably the best pick that he made. You could say what you want about Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's a good receiver. This pick was all right. In 2016, Karl Joseph. This was a miss. 2017, Garyon Conley. This was a miss. But in 2018, taking Colton Miller at 15, I think we would all agree that this has been pretty good thus far. So these weren't the only picks, though, considering the fact that a lot of the other bad picks that the Raiders made were when he left. But as it stands right now, how would you rate the hire of the Raiders going out and getting Shaun Herock? Scale it from 1 to 100. 1, you absolutely hate it. 100, you absolutely love it. All I'm hoping for is that this guy does better than what the Raiders have had the past 3 years, because I honestly don't know if it could have been any worse when you look at just how this first-round picks have gone. In 2019, Clelin Ferrell, bust. Josh has been good, but even taking a running back at number 24 overall, I don't think this has been worth it yet. Jonathan Abram, 27th, bust. Henry Ruggs was going on the right track, and then, well, you know the situation. Damon Arnett doesn't get much of a bigger bust than him, and then Alex Leatherwood, you're hoping that he can be worth it, but I think we would all agree he has yet to be worth the pick number 17. The Raiders, to be taken seriously, need to start drafting better. I get it. You were able to find Hunter Renfrow. You're able to find somebody like Max Crosby. You're able to find Nate Hobbs. Finding those late-round guys, that's important, but you have to hit on your first-round picks for the love of God. So if anybody who's watching this from the Raiders front office, Mark, if you're watching this and you guys need help, DM me on Instagram. I am more than happy to get in that war room and help you guys out, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, you say that? Coolest part about making YouTube videos, you can go back and look. If the Raiders would have followed everything that I've said from a draft standpoint, they would be in a way, way better situation. If only you knew that Damon Arnett could have been a bust. Hit me up on Instagram at MitchellWren365. Now, I don't know about y'all, I have been trying to stay in better shape, but I got a sweet tooth. I got all this stuff going on. And when I wake up in the morning, it starts in the morning, because if you can get off on the right track, in the morning, you're probably going to have a better day, whether it's working out and whatnot. So I go to pandasups.com. You guys should too. Use code Raiders for 35% off. Now, if you want to take their greens, take a scoop, throw it in water, you're ready to go, got some caffeine. They just launched a new flavor. And let's say after work you have that crash, you want to go to the gym. If you take one scoop of their Pandemic Peach Gummy Ring flavored pre-workout, dude, you're going to be in the gym for 2 hours bouncing off the walls. Then you come home, you need to settle down a little bit. What's a good way to do it? You take one scoop of the Sleepy, and then you're ready to just fall asleep and get a solid 7 to 8 hours or however long you guys like to sleep. If you wake up the next morning, maybe you have a hangover because, I don't know, David Zahn was sending in super chats. You take a scoop of the Recovery BCAs, you're going to be able to stay hydrated. And for a limited time only, this deal will end on February 22nd. So midnight tonight. On all orders over $99, you're going to get a free Panda Sup shirt. Whether that's going to be gray or whether that's going to be a black shirt, we got you covered here. Free t-shirt on orders over $99. So midnight tonight is when you have to get this deal in. It's pandasups.com. Use code Raiders. That link is available for y'all down in the comments and in the description of this video. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions around this tweet here. Ian Rapoport sent this out on February 17th that the Arizona Cardinals have released cornerback Malcolm Butler from the reserve/retired list, per The Wire. He will be interesting, especially if he wants to return. Had heard he's considering it. For those of you that don't know, Malcolm Butler, he spent some time with the New England Patriots, so he has some connections there. But for Butler, released by the Cardinals, retired last season, didn't play a single game, and the fact that there are rumors that he's been working out, he's in shape, and could be considering a return. Anytime something like this happens, my DMs, they fill up with, hey, Mitch, should the Raiders go out and get this guy? Should the Raiders go out and pursue him? Malcolm Butler played with the Patriots from 2014 to 2017, and I definitely think he was respected by New England, and he was even respected by the Titans organization, who I understand the Titans aren't the Patriots, but Mike Vrabel, a lot of connections, so there's even an extra layer there. Also, Josh McDaniels said that they were going to be looking at adding depth at the cornerback position. A lot of people don't really realize this, but Malcolm Butler is a slot corner, so he's not going to play on the outside, he'd play on the inside. If Butler's in shape, he could still help out a team. I don't really think that many people would dispute that. Now, he's more of a household name because he made that one big play in the Super Bowl. Remember, Seahawks on the 1-yard line, should have just ran it to Marshawn Lynch. Instead, slant, cross middle of the field, Butler jumps it, picked off, Patriots win the Super Bowl. I know, I'm sad just talking about it. But he's a household name, and a lot of times when somebody's a household name, people think he's a lot better than what he is. Now, the past few seasons, he's been with the Tennessee Titans, and he played in 41 games. He had 201 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 9 interceptions, and 35 pass breakups. The stats that people sometimes won't tell you are how many catches that he allowed. Well, Malcolm Butler allowed 73 grabs in 2020. That was the most in the National Football League. And if you watch the tape, and I get it, Janoris Jenkins probably a better corner than Butler. Teams were picking on Butler in the slot, though. And anytime you see a team going after a guy over and over and over again, it's not because they respect him. It's because maybe he's just getting a little bit washed up. And then even back when he used to play with the Patriots, after he signed one of his new deals or right after the Super Bowl game or whatever the hell it was, teams started to pick on him again. He then also gave up the most receiving yards the following year. Butler's a household name, but if you want to see him on the field, is anybody here going to put him over Nate Hobbs? I know I'm not. I mean, I've definitely been critical of Hobbs of late because of his off-the-field decision-making. But in terms of being on the field, Nate Hobbs was an absolute steal. He fit great as a nickel. He was really physical. I'd love to see what he can do. I'm not going to go out and sign Malcolm Butler to play him over Nate Hobbs after the season that he had. So if you want to go ahead and do this, you can. But just think, he's probably going to be a backup or just a guy that you use here and there. So you can be the GM, be Dave Ziegler. Should the Raiders go out and sign Malcolm Butler, you can type Y for yes. You can type your N for no. I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders showed some interest. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. But if I was running the team, I probably wouldn't do it. Now coming up, guys, we got more Derek Carr trade rumors. And I know, Derek Carr trade rumors. Oh, my gosh, Mitch, why are you talking about this again? I talk about it for a few reasons. One, it's my job. And I've obviously said here multiple times, I don't see the Raiders moving on from Derek Carr. But just because you see a Derek Carr rumor, it doesn't mean that you should just totally tune it out, because a lot of times you should see what other people like ESPN, CBS, PFF, how they value Derek Carr, because that's important. How other people also value Derek Carr, not me, not just Raider fans, how you get as many people to just come in, because then you probably can get a good figure of what exactly Carr's value actually is in terms of an extension, in terms of how he can help this team, and overall trade value. The reason why I'm talking about this, though, is because PFF, they released a mock draft. This is probably one of the craziest mock drafts that I have ever seen. They had 3 trades in the first round: Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and yes, Derek Carr. So we're going to go through the first 22 picks, and if you're watching this on the Raiders Report, I'm actually going to be doing the full mock draft live today on Chat Sports, so please go ahead and subscribe to our Chat Sports channel. But here's the picks from the PFF mock. 1 through 4, nothing too surprising, nothing that's like, wow, really jumps out to me. Maybe the fact that Evan Neal, he went number 5 overall to the New York Giants. George Karlaftis went a little bit early. Kyle Hamilton fell to 8. I thought that's a steal for Atlanta. At number 9, Drake London, he went to the Packers because, again, the Packers in this thing, they traded away Aaron Rodgers to the Denver Broncos. Garet Wilson, Sam Howell. This was the Washington Commanders pick. Seattle, they made a trade here to make this move. And then 13 through 16, we'll keep the ball rolling here. Another wide receiver off the board. Back-to-back picks by the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chargers, they went ahead. They took Jameson Williams. Quarterback off the board of the New Orleans Saints is Malik Willis. And then 20, 21, and 22. We obviously care about the Las Vegas Raiders, but I mentioned there was a Derek Carr trade, and this is what PFF did in their mock trade. The Raiders, they received the number 20 overall pick, the number 20 or the 2023 first round pick, the third round pick, so 84 overall, and then the Steelers, they get Derek Carr. So how do you value that trade? Who wins this trade? Type LV for the Raiders. Type PIT for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I should also mention the trade that was earlier with Russell Wilson. They had 2 firsts and a second-round pick. So the fact that only a second and a third-round pick is what PFF values, DC, is pretty surprising to me. But let me know down in those comments, y'all, who wins this deal, LV for the Raiders or PIT for the Steelers? I personally believe that both sides win this trade. I think getting 2 first-round picks and third-round pick for DC, that's good value. And also for Pittsburgh, if Carr were to go to the Steelers, they would be a really tough team to beat in the AFC, personally. I mean, that's what I have to say. Now, the only way the Raiders should do this is if they have a quarterback in mind, right? If you're going to make that deal, okay, because that's how you have to think about these things. If you're going to make that deal, you better have a quarterback in mind. Now, here's what PFF had to say on trading DC. The Raiders, on the other hand, are in desperate need of upgrades at receiver, 4 positions along the offensive line, linebacker and cornerback, before their roster is even considered in the top half of the league. So PFF obviously doesn't like what the Raiders have as an overall team. They also said fully committing to a rebuild with wealth of first-round picks should be the preferred option over signing Carr to a $40 million per year contract with a roster lacking talent at premium positions. So essentially what PFF is saying is the Raiders going into a rebuild would be smarter than paying DC $40 million a year. I know a lot of people out there think PFF is smart, and I do agree with PFF being a smart source here and there. However, I do not see the Raiders going into rebuild. In fact, I am going to guarantee you this. Josh McDaniels, with his reputation, the last time he was a head coach in Denver, the last time he coached in the AFC West, he's not going to do a rebuild, because if he starts losing again, everyone's going to be like, oh, this guy's losing again with the team that went to the playoffs. So the rebuild, it's not going to happen, though I don't really disagree with the idea of paying Derek Carr $40 million as being a worse idea than the Raiders trying to go out and getting another quarterback. Now, here's how the PFF mock went. Get ready to throw up. So the Raiders, they trade away Derek Carr, and at number 20, they take Cincinnati quarterback Desmond Ridder. I'm sorry, I am not a fan of Desmond Ridder. I get it. He carried Cincinnati. He was a good player. He's gotten better. 3,334 yards, 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But if the Raiders were to make that trade, and then they're up here telling me, all right, we're going to take Desmond Ridder at number 20, I might literally throw up on screen. This would be a terrible idea. Desmond Ridder is not ready to compete right now, and I get it. Most quarterbacks, when they first come out of the draft, they're not ready yet. It's a simple fact. They're not ready. But you better damn well go out and get a quarterback that might be a lot more prepared than somebody like Ridder. If you're telling me right now, Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, they're on the board, and you take Ritter, I'm going to want to pull my hair out. Kenny Pickett, better. Matt Corral, much better. Carson Strong might not be ready to go, but he has more upside to me than Desmond Ritter, and I would take Carson Strong over Desmond, and it really wouldn't be that difficult of a decision. So then, at number 21, the New England Patriots, they have their pick. They go with Trayvon Walker, defensive lineman out of Georgia, which means the Raiders are on the clock again. And with the 22nd pick in the PFF mock draft, they're going to take wide receiver Treylon Burks from Arkansas. Last season, Burks, he had 66 grabs, 1,104 yards, 11 touchdowns. He's 6'3", he's 225 pounds, and if they were to go ahead and make this move here, I wouldn't like it at all. It's not that I don't like Treylon Burks. He's a good player, but there were a lot of other players on the board. And really, I think it's as simple as that. When you look at some of these players here that were on the board at pick number 22, it makes me wonder, what are we thinking about? Like, you're telling me you would rather have Treylon Burks over Jordan Davis. I mean, if Jordan Davis is on the board at 22, I'm going to run up to the podium and make the pick myself for the Raiders. Tyler Linderbaum, center's not really that big of a need, but you know what? Linderbaum, he can play better center than Andre James, and then maybe you kick Andre James out the guard. Nakobe Dean, Trevor Penning, Jahad Dotson, all great and better options than Treylon Burks. So you're telling me I get Desmond Ritter, Treylon Burks? I'm telling you right now, I would hate this draft. And it's more because of fit. Burks is going to be a good receiver depending on his landing spot. But imagine writing this quote here from PFF, because this is my problem. And if you guys send me PFF mock drafts, I'm not going to look at them because personally, I think the people that do PFF draft scouting is really bad at it. Burks is built like a taller running back at 6'3", 225 pounds. He dominates after the catch and will surprise defensive backs with his speed, regardless of whether the ball is in his hands. He likely assumes a slot role at the next level, but he'll still command a lot of attention from the inside. I don't really disagree with anything that PFF has to say here, but imagine taking a receiver that you believe is going to play in the slot when the Raiders already have Hunter Renfrow. Renfrow is going to be the main slot guy, and I'm not sitting here saying, oh, you can't have another slot dude, but if there's other receivers out there that you need to be able to put on the outside, because let's also remember, Darren Waller is going to play on the inside. He's going to play in the slot as well at tight end. So the idea to take Burks, to put him in the inside when you have Hunter Renfrow, it makes just absolutely no sense to me. So go ahead, guys, grade this mock draft. Desmond Ritter at pick number 20. Treylon Burks at pick number 22. A, B, C, D, or F. Please let me know. Here's my answer. My answer, this mock draft would be a big, fat F. And I mean a big, fat F. Not only do we get Desmond Ritter, we also get a receiver who I think he could probably go in the first round in Burks, but it wouldn't be the best fit for Las Vegas. I do not see the Raiders moving on from Derek Carr, but this is important to see how people think about the Raiders and their overall needs. I also wanted to bring this up because I thought PFF made some interesting points on the Derek Carr $40 million year contract extension. They would rather go through a rebuild than extend DC for $40 million. Think about that. If anything happens around the silver and black, you guys know I got you covered. Hit that sub button. Turn on those notifications because I don't want you to miss anything.